Hey guys, we took a break from last week, but we're back. Here's a note from my desk. I've been thinking through the Christmas holidays and stuff. We've had some conversations too in Sunday school and other places. Why the heck do we come to church? Like, what's the whole point of it? And most of you guys said, well, to learn about God, which is pretty true. Church is exactly the place where we go to learn about God, but church on Sunday mornings has something different. Now, the church building, if you come any other night of the week, you're probably going to be doing some kind of thing where you're learning about God. And on Sunday, you'll definitely learn about Him, but the whole point of Sunday worship is to, that word worship, to give thanks to God for something. So, I don't know, that question's just been in my head. Why do we come to church? Why do we come on Sunday mornings and get together as a group of people from different ages who like vastly different things and get together and sit there? Is it just to learn, or is it really for what it's supposed to be for, I think, praising God? I'm reading this awesome book by a monk who lived in Kentucky. His name is Thomas Merton, and he just writes down some random thoughts that he has throughout this entire book, and he says, "I do not have answers to current questions. I do have questions, and as a matter of fact, I think a man is better known by his questions than by his answers." Catch what he's saying there. He says, it's better to question things than to, it's better to measure a person by their questions than by their answers sometimes. A lot of times we only find value in people who can answer our questions and answer them well. But he says, maybe God is a little more concerned about our questions than our ability to answer and know everything about Him. So that's kind of what I thought that fit in with what we're talking about here. Not knowing why we come to church exactly, like, why do we do it? It's a big question, and I don't really know that I have the best answer. But Jesus got caught up by a bunch of guys trying to question Him as well. If you read in Matthew chapter 22, it is all about the religious leaders, the guys who worked in the church every day, going up to Jesus and trying to ask Him questions and trying to stump Him basically and make Him look stupid in front of a big crowd. And Jesus, they ask Jesus, well, what's the most important thing that you must do? Like, what's the most important commandment? And right away you think maybe of the 10 Commandments. They're like, oh, which one of those is the most important? But it's, really they're asking which part of Moses' law is the most important. If you read most of the Old Testament, a lot of it, before Psalms and Job and stuff, is books of law, meaning any of those things that Moses said. Which of all these things in the Old Testament is the most important thing for us to follow? And Jesus replied to them, you must love the Lord your God with all your heart, all your soul, and all your mind. This is the first and greatest commandment. A second is equally important. Love your neighbor as yourself. The entire law and all the demands of the prophets are based on these two commandments. Jesus takes the whole Old Testament and boils it down into these two things. And He knows the heart of God because He is God in flesh. So, and looking for an answer for why we come to church, this really doesn't help, but it does say that we must love the Lord our God with all our heart, our soul, and our mind. And learning definitely encourages us to use our mind, right? We have to do that. So if we want to love God with all our mind, we do have to learn about Him with all our heart and all our soul. I think that's the part that is missing a lot, and that's the part that scares me. Where's our heart? Where's our soul in our worship when we get together on Sunday? Or we're just sitting there waiting, like, well, I'm in church, and just waiting for the time to pass? Or are we giving God our heart and asking Him to search it, to clean it out? Are we giving Him our soul, giving Him our motives, our desires, our wants, and thanking Him with all of our souls, all of our hearts, all of our minds for how amazing He's been to us by giving us Jesus? That's a question I've been thinking about. Maybe it's not a big deal to you, but it's something I've been thinking about. So I just pray that I will be with you guys this week. Think about that question. Why do we come to church? Why do we take time to do that? Why do we take time to sit with each other? And maybe remember this, because this is called the greatest commandment. So, have a good week, guys.